everyone, welcome to the final episode of Ricardo&Reddie, where we are bringing you inspiring stories during lockdown. Lockdown starting to ease slowly in Sydney. Mark, how's it all going?
It's good. It's very exciting. Today was a big day for me. I got my second vaccination at the Royal Prince Alfred Hospital. There I am. We had to double mask today, which was interesting. And, a lot of people have had sort of side effects from Pfizer, feeling lethargic and tired and run down. So far, I feel fine. My arm's slightly sore, but it's just good to feel like now I'm free. I can go to a picnic. Wild.
Speaking of picnics, so I went to a picnic today in Centennial Park with a few mates, and it was nice and warm. We had all the food out, and then there were these really heavy raindrops, which the raindrops turned into rain. So we kind of had to quickly make an escape from Centennial Park, and there was like this rush of people exiting the park to go back home. So it only lasted for like 10, 15 minutes of rain, but it kind of put a dampener on it. But still, it was great to be out and about, because obviously everyone, those people that are double vaccinated in Sydney can now be outdoors in groups of 5 for things like picnics. So it's a bit of a step forward out of lockdown.
I mean, it's like, haven't we had enough? Like, seriously, on the first weekend, you can go picnicking and it starts raining, and it was heavy rain. It was kind of like the before it got to hail. I felt it was hard.
Yeah. So today we want to wrap up with some great interviews and some inspiring stories. And the reason why this is the final episode for this season is, like I said, this was a project that Mark and I did at the very beginning of lockdown, just to provide some inspiring story, to keep us busy, but also to provide some inspiring stories during lockdown, speak to people that are within our network and some people that have been recommended to us to give us some uplifting content in these times, and also to provide us with some, mental health tips as well, Mark. Hey.
Yeah, and a lot of our guests have really delved into the mental health space. We've had life coaches. We've had a bit of a flavor of what traveling might be like after the pandemic. And I think a lot of people are really feeling it now. And there is a glimmer. There's something coming. And it feels like a good time to wrap up the show, because come, I think it's October 18, October 22, it looks like if we get that vaccination rate at sort of 80%, that bars, restaurants, and a few other things will start opening. And so that's really exciting. I'm already feeling, it's weird, even like a picnic makes me feel like we're going back to normal, which is a really good feeling, because I think a lot of people have been struggling and everyone's behavior's changed, and so it'd be good to get back to normal.
Speaking of behaviours changing, first of all, if you've got any questions for our guests, please write them in the comments section of the Facebook page that you're watching this show in. But maybe we'll go straight into our first guest, because speaking of changing behaviour, I guess she had to change a bit of her behaviour, because she's a seasoned entertainer. She's super talented, and being in the entertainment industry, she had to become creative during lockdown. So joining us now live from Sydney is the insatiable Prada Clutch. Hey, Prada.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Hi, darling.
Prada, what's lockdown been like for you?
You know what? Lockdown this time round has been so full on. I know last year's lockdown, it was just about surviving and just adapting the whole of what I do to a virtual sort of world. But this time round, it was just as we went into lockdown, I got a thing from the real estate agent saying that that I had to move out. So I was like, love that for me. Who wants to move during a pandemic? No one ever, but did that. So I've been really super busy, getting all that happening and moved house eventually, then setting up. But in between all of that, I haven't actually stopped working. So it was literally move in on Monday, and then Tuesday, wake up, put on makeup and do my job. So it's been so full on and so exciting. And I know that it's obviously very different because, you know, I'm not with people physically, but it's been great to have the opportunity.
Prada, you work in the entertainment industry. You need an audience, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Do you miss that audience right now? Because you perform on stage in various venues, don't you?
I do. I'm traveling the east coast of Australia the minute we can. We've currently got all of our bookings of shows that have we've just obviously had to postpone till pretty much next year. This is some of my show that we travel the east coast of Australia with, and so yeah, basically most of next year is booked, which is amazing. But yeah, it's just been like, you know, audiences is just. They just give a different energy. It's so different to online. I love that I can't control them. They can just, like, I mean, I can with what I'm singing and what I'm saying, but, you know, online, people just yell out anything on the online Zooms. And the fun thing is, and I will miss this probably the most about online work, is hitting the mute button. Because I could just keep everyone quiet by hitting the mute button, but in real life, IRL, I'm not going to be able to do that. So, but I'm looking forward. It's an energy thing to be on stage. You know, I don't care if there's 10 people in the audience, or as you just saw, there was like, I think 1,500 in that audience. It was ridiculous. But like just that buzz of excitement, nothing compares to that. It's just crazy.
Hey, Prada, you are undoubtedly the most glamorous person in lockdown. I mean, I'm wearing sports gear, but tell us a bit about, you perform at so many different pubs across different areas of Sydney. What I find really interesting about the bingo online is that you bring people from everywhere. I mean, surely that's kind of going to be quite a bit sad to know that everyone's going to go back to their local pubs and that's not going to exist anymore. I mean, it's been nice connecting with all these people all over. How special has that been for you?
So the best thing about online is I literally look up at the cameras and I see people that are that I recognize from my gigs. So there'll be people from like Windsor, there'll be people from Penrith, there'll be people from, you know, Newcastle and Wollongong. There's people from literally everywhere. And what I've been loving, just absolutely mind-blowing, are the people overseas in, like, you know, we've got people from Scotland and from the UK, Northern Ireland, that literally just wake up, you know, brush your teeth and play bingo. And it's so nice to be able to reach out and play bingo with people virtually. I've also been doing a lot of corporate work, which is amazing to do, but also, you know, finishing my online bingo, as I know both of you have been on before, finishing at, you know, 9:30 and then having a quick drink and getting back into the seat to do, you know, gigs in Hong Kong for all the people in Hong Kong. So I feel like my reach has really expanded dramatically, and I've been able to, you know, give what I love to everyone, which I think is awesome.
Prada, we're getting some great comments from viewers saying, Tina, for example, saying, I wouldn't have survived lockdown without Prada's bingo, and I've made so many new friends I would never have met. So how does it make you feel knowing that you're helping people connect during lockdown?
For me, drag has always been, like, full stop, has always been about bringing people joy, making people happy, and helping people forget everything that's going on in their lives just for that however long we're together. Just forget about it and just have a bit of joy, because, you know, there is a lot of drama that goes on in people's lives, and you know, just if we can just escape that for a short moment, then I just love that I can provide that. You know, for example, Tina's one of my bingo girls from out at Penrith initially, and has moved around Windsor and Campbelltown, which has been great. And Tina's made so many new friends. You know, everyone chats, everyone, you know, has a little group chat that they all get together and chat during the week, and everyone's, you know, connecting. And it's like, oh, can't wait to be in Sydney so we can all catch up. And oh my goodness, if you're ever in Melbourne, or if you ever find yourself in New Zealand, we've got a whole bunch of people from New Zealand that play. And, you know, it's so awesome that, you know, because of technology, we can do that. But that probably wouldn't have happened had we not done this.
And Prada, drag doesn't just bring the LGBTQI community together. It brings so many people together, including families. I've been on a lot. I mean, I got on a Wednesday when I was stressed by myself and just needed to let loose. Why does drag bring people together, and how important is that?
I think because, like, I mean, drag from the beginning of time, like right from the beginning, has always been a form of entertainment to you know, I mean, they used to entertain the troops back in the day. If you ever talk to Carlotta, I'm sure she's got a story or two about that. But it's about bringing joy, and, you know, for us to come in and throw that out there, and it's timeless. It's not like something that we go, oh, drag years ago used to be this. It's, you know, drag still is, and such a huge part of our culture, especially now. You know, now more than ever, that I think drag is absolutely ginormous. And the fact that we can bring all that and still provide that to people is just iconic. All these messages is just so lovely. I'm just seeing them all pop up now, thinking, "Oh my goodness, thank you all." But like, I'll just share a quick story with one of my favorite moments in my career is when I've been at a show. And I believe it was in Narrawarren in Victoria, which, you know, people say to me, oh my goodness, you're not going to Narrawarren. What are you thinking? But like, I go everywhere. And what I love about drag is we can bring it to, and we bring it to everyone and anywhere, and we go to any town, and there's people in these towns that may never have seen drag ever in their life. And there was this gorgeous little young boy. He must have been, I think, could have been like 10 or 11, and he came and he was all dressed up in drag, and his brother was there as well, who had a you know, a dress on, but, you know, he had his joggers on, and he was, you know, and I said to the brother, the young boy was absolutely gobsmacked, and I said to the brother, I said, oh, are you all dressed up, are you? And he said, yep, my brother likes to dress up, so if I dress up, then he will feel okay too. And I just died. I literally, I turned to his mum and dad, who were both standing there, and I said, you're amazing. Like, you're actually amazing. Here we are in this rural town in Victoria, and like, not only have you allowed your son to be who he is in full drag, mind you, but you've taught the kids so well that his brother is so understanding, and you know, it's all cool and it's all okay, and I just want him to feel okay. And I just thought, isn't this just like, you know, I pinch myself, you know, and my parents are with me at every show. They travel with me to every single show. They drive all the costumes. They help with bumping. They sell the merchandise. And mum and dad are just standing there, just looking at these kids going, what is this? You know, this is just phenomenal. Like, it's just such an incredible thing to see. And I think it's amazing that drag has opened so many people's eyes. Like, it's just, I think drag it's very normal. Like, what show hasn't got a drag queen on it now, you know?
Prada, we're getting some questions. Oh, sorry, Mark. We're getting some questions that I want to get through. If you want to answer them quite quickly. Marco wants to know, Prada, what is your advice for young people wanting to get into drag?
Do absolutely anything you can possibly do. Watch every YouTube tutorial, and just do what feels right to you. We didn't have YouTube back in the day, so do what feels right and go with it. Nothing's ever wrong.
And how long does it take to get frocked up? A question from Gavin.
Okay, so generally, I spend a solid hour getting ready, but I'm just chatting with someone earlier. It used to take me 5. I used to, don't tell mum and dad, I think they're watching. I used to leave university during my last period so I could sneak in and get ready to get out in time. So yeah.
And why did you decide to do drag, and when did you first start doing it?
Okay, I decided to do drag when I was actually 18. I hadn't officially come out to the family and to the world officially, but I'd come out to some friends, and I went to see a drag show. And I remember saying to going up and chatting to the drag queen and saying, look, you know, I think you're amazing. You know, you're phenomenal. You know, I really appreciate what you do. I was a musical theatre student at the time. And I remember saying, you know, I think you're amazing. I've got so much appreciation for what you do. I don't think I could ever do it, mind you, but I just think you're super amazing. And the drag queen turned to me and said, I'll give it 3 months. And I said, 3 months? Absolutely not. Absolutely. I will never. No, I just couldn't do it. How? I couldn't. Well, you can pretty much see what happened next. I bought a pair of shoes, I bought a wig, I borrowed a friend's dress, and I ran around her apartment. And that was kind of when I sort of went, I don't know if I'm going to do it for like ever, but I'd love to give it a go properly. And that's what I did.
Just a couple more things before you go. I think we should show everyone a little bit of your talents. Here's a 30-second clip of Prada performing. Prada, that was great. Before we let you go, though, I just want to ask, because you've brought so many people together with your online bingo, which is going to start very soon, so we'll let you go after this, and Mark and I are actually going to join you.
Oh, great.
What I want to know, will you continue with your online work once things start getting back to normal?
So the online regular bookings that I do, so like my Wednesday night bingo, my Friday night bingo, my Saturday night bingo, eventually will stop because I will be in person doing it with the people in person. But it's not going to stop me from doing, all the corporate work that keeps coming through. And I'm doing a first birthday tomorrow, like literally a first birthday party. So I know there's going to be a lot of people still booking me for stuff, which I'm excited about. And also, the companies are all over the world, and they're not going to be able to get together for quite a while. So I know that's going to keep me going during the week. But yes, the Wednesdays and the Friday and the Saturday will all just depend on whether I'm allowed to travel with the show. So
last question from Chris. Will we see you on Drag Race?
Look, I just want to say this to you all. I think the show is wonderful and I really enjoy watching the show. I think that would I do a good job on the show? Probably would. But I do think that what I love doing and what my favorite part about my job is being able to travel around and do what I love. So for me to stop what I'm doing to go on a TV show doesn't work for me. So I'd rather continue doing what I'm doing and live it up. And you know what? I'm already a star, darling. I'm already a star. Going ahead, I'm the biggest star there is. So you know what I mean? But I appreciate it. And thank you to all the people that have messaged me saying, Prada, I hope you're doing it. I appreciate it. And you never know what's going to happen, but it might be in my contract and I might not be able to discuss it right now.
Prada, I know we've got to let you go to get ready for bingo. Another comment just to show you how you've made a difference within the community, especially with lockdown. Troy saying certainly would not have got through lockdown without Prada. So thank you for all your contribution to the community during lockdown. Do you want to take us out with a bit of a tune?
Oh my goodness, I've got nothing prepared. What are you talking about? I couldn't possibly do a song. Oh my goodness. Okay, only if you dance around with me. Thank you, everyone. Oh my goodness. Oh my God, here we go. Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. No, you can't control yourself any longer. Feel the rhythm of the music getting stronger. Don't you body till you try to do that conga. Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. Any longer, getting stronger. Do that conga beat. Woo! Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Woo!
Everyone, that's Prada Clutch there. Prada, thank you so much for joining us, and Ricardo&Reddie, thank you.
Thanks, Prada. Well done.
Thank you, Prada. See you soon.
See you there.
How great was that?
She was great. Fantastic. Now let's go to our next guest. Independent MP Alex Greenwich joins us now. Alex?
Hi, everyone. Sorry I was a bit late.
How was your picnic?
Alex, our viewers don't know that you were late, so it doesn't matter.
Great.
We did introduce you just in case there was a technical issue.
How was your picnic?
It was good. It was rained out like I think everybody else in Sydney. So I had a picnic, then I came home and went for a little snooze. I did that whole thing of setting the alarm for 6 a.m. and then woke up at about 6:30 and realized, oh, okay, I was meant to be talking to you guys. Sorry.
A lockdown nap. I love it. Hey,
Yeah.
I want to talk to you. We're looking at coming out of lockdown slightly. We've got our picnics going. You and Greens MP Jenny Leong were really instrumental in pushing for the singles bubble, which I very much appreciate. Why was that so important?
Well, early on, Jenny and I both were talking, like our electorates have a large number of single people in it. And we knew that the lockdowns were going to have a profound impact on everybody, but particular people who are single and who live alone and don't have the same kind of, connection with another person that, say, a couple or a family have. So it was going to be important to make sure that single people had someone they could connect with. There was the model of the single bubble from the Victorian lockdown, but also from the UK. And so we advocated very intensely with the government, actually, to say you've got to do the same to Sydney. You've got to apply the same to people in Sydney because it is going to have an impact on people's mental health and well-being. So we did that, and fortunately we were successful. It was about 2 or 3 weeks in that the single bubbles came into effect.
And Alex, for those viewers that are not in Sydney, we should mention that you are the independent member for Sydney, just in case there are other parts of the country that don't know who you are. What's lockdown been like for you personally?
I'm someone who I feel, very fortunate throughout this time. I have a job. I've been able to keep my job. I have a good community around me, and I'm in Sydney, which is, a beautiful part of the world. I know a lot of people have been doing it a lot tougher. Lockdown has had its challenges, but I know we will get through this. Every day I sort of consider lockdown to be an exercise in gratitude and patience. In that, I know we'll get through this, and I know that hopefully things will get better after this.
Alex, you and the City of Sydney have been really pushing this vaccine passport, which we are hearing about. A lot of businesses I've spoken to have talked about the hesitancy of enforcing that and the responsibility of doing so. Why is a vaccine passport important, and how is it going to work?
Yeah, will be a challenge for us. We don't know the detail of how the government is going to address the sort of the vaccine mandates for businesses. So it's expected that in probably 2 or 3 weeks' time, people who are double vaccinated will be the only people who can go into pubs or other venues. How those venues will be able to police this is still a big question mark. We know that venues do not want to have to deal with increased license fees, policing, etc. So it's my understanding that what will happen will be, as you sign into a venue, you will have uploaded your vaccine passport, and you'll get sort of a tick or a double tick that you'll be able to show that venue when you come in, so they'll know that you've signed in appropriately and you're double vaccinated. The big question is what happens with people who are not vaccinated, and how do the venues police that? And that's in the interest of not only everybody who is vaccinated, but everybody who's not vaccinated, right? We want people who are not vaccinated will be putting themselves at risk by going into a public venue with lots of people. So there is still a bit of detail that the government needs to provide on that one.
Alex, one of the reasons we have you on the show is because we're wrapping up our 10-season episode show with wanting to look forward to have some inspirational, aspirational things after being in lockdown. One of the things is that we haven't been able to eat out, right? How do you see the dining experience happening once these restrictions start easing?
So I think we're going to go through a transitional process. And I think it's going to largely be eating outdoors. So today, I know lots of people wanted to do picnics. Like myself, we couldn't do that. And I think what will happen is going forward, we'll be able to eat outside in venues that have outdoor areas, and then we will progress to areas with indoor areas, but with the sort of the clear square meter rule in place. People will need to be double vaccinated. There will be, there will be restrictions on the amount of people you can have in one place. I think the real challenge we have is there's not going to be a Freedom Day, sadly. We're not going back to normal. It is going to be, we are going to have to get used to a new way of doing things, and that's going to be a challenge.
On that note, so I actually read something today that people are thinking about car parks and restaurants kind of working in there, which could be kind of cool. But if things aren't going to go straight back to normal, obviously a lot of businesses have had support through government grants. If there's going to be a staggered return, are businesses going to be able to, go back to normal and not lose money? I mean, at the moment, a lot of businesses are just breaking even. How is that going to work with the support now and a staggered return?
Well, this is a big challenge. I mean, businesses tell me that they don't want to open at a loss. I think in the first lockdown, businesses, took one for the team and were prepared to open up, even knowing that they were opening up at an operating loss. They don't want to take that risk this time. So we're going to need to make sure that we have financial support for businesses through that opening up phase. The government's yet to release that information, but we won't be able to be switching off, the financial support the moment we open up. It's going to need to continue on for a bit longer.
Alex, we're getting some questions from viewers coming in. I hope you'll be able to take them. First of all, Jason asks, Alex, how do you see New Year's Eve playing out in Sydney this year?
Hopefully it's not as contentious as last year. So I think by New Year's this year, people will be double vaccinated, and we will have clearer rules as to what we can do. So I'm sure along the harbour foreshore and in people's homes, they'll be able to have New Year's parties. That will need to rely on them being double vaccinated. So I really hope that this New Year's celebration is a big one and a wonderful one, and we can all celebrate. Last year was, we weren't sure whether we should have been seeing the fireworks or not. This year, I think we can embrace them, but it'll have to be done in a COVID-safe way.
And Lauren Gordon asks, will we ever get to be as free as the UK?
Look, I think we look at the situation in the UK and we look at the amount of people who have died, really, and the ongoing increases in cases that are happening. I don't think we want to be the situation of the UK. I think we want to be a bit more cautious than that. And so I think we'll have a cautious reopening, and we'll see how that looks and how that starts in a couple of weeks' time.
Lara Himes asks, sorry, Mark. Lara Himes asks, what would you say to those who are vaccine hesitant?
Look, I think we have to acknowledge that there are people in our community who have vaccine hesitancy, who don't want to be told that they are stupid for not getting the vaccine, who don't want to be lectured at. We really have to communicate to those, to that cohort, that it's actually in their best interest that they get vaccinated. Telling people off, judging people for not getting vaccinated is not going to encourage them to get vaccinated. Being positively encouraging them to do so, giving them the evidence and support to do so is what we need.
There's been a mass exodus of overseas international students who often prop up the hospitality sector by working in restaurants, cafes, bars. How is that going to work when bars and restaurants reopen in terms of staff levels? Are you hearing concerns about that?
Look, this is going to be a challenge. I think people have forgotten that, our hospitality sector is fueled by people who are on different types of visas other than permanent residents or citizens. Hopefully this builds a new appreciation and trust of people in those kinds of insecure visa situations. We're going to need to make it easier for people to come into the country, to work in the country, because we're going to need those people in our various venues. But I know a number of hospitality groups have stressed that this is going to be a hard thing. So we're going to need to make it easier for people to come to Australia, to work in Australia.
So, Alex, the big question that is on my mind, ARC is up for sale for $50 million. Now, the Green Park obviously has been sold off.
Yeah.
Is there a concern that development is sort of eroding this local gay culture? Is that something you're feeling?
Yeah, I think the Green Park news really hit everybody. It was so sudden. St. Vincent's took it over really quickly. There was no public process, and that shocked people. And now we know that ARC is going through the public process. It is obviously a private piece of real estate that is being sold privately. I think the hope I can give people is we know there is a lot of really encouraging stuff happening on Oxford Street. Redevelopment of the City of Sydney sites with new venues, redevelopment of the Kinsella site with new venues, and I really hope that the ARC site, which is right next door to my office, whatever happens there includes a nightclub venue. I think our community has proven that we are a good customer, and that if you provide a nightclub or restaurant or other hospitality offering, we will support it.
So in the meantime, I'm going to try and win Lotto and buy ARC.
Love it. I'd love the Mark Reddy ARC.
That'll be my new job. Mark ARQ. That'll work.
Perfect.
A question from Marco. I live in Surrey Hills and I've noticed an increase in the amount of homeless people. Do you think COVID has contributed to this? How is it being addressed?
This is a complex issue. So I think we need to look at a couple of things here. One, people who were homeless in Sydney at the start of the pandemic, fortunately, have really been looked after well. So we have about 1,800 people in hotels who were previously rough sleepers, who are getting supports, who are entering into a housing pathway. We also know the financial stress of COVID has led to more people becoming homeless. So people are entering homelessness for the first time, and we need to make sure that group is being embraced. If people look around the city, I'm told, and there's regular stats being done by the City of Sydney and the New South Wales government, there's about 50 people who are rough sleeping at the moment in the city. We know who they are. They've all been vaccinated, and they're all being supported. And there's about another 1,800 people in hotel accommodation, and there is a pathway which is being worked on to help them into more permanent housing. So I guess I can just assure people that this is a big concern for people, and people are working on it.
And one thing I read about recently was that even when a homeless person does ask you for money, acknowledge them, ask them how they are. That's really important, because asking for help is a huge thing. So I read that today, and so I think we should all be making sure we do that. And
Alex, you've got a unique perspective because you're on Filthy Rich and Homeless, which was on SBS, by the way. What did you learn from that?
Yeah, I learned how lonely homelessness is. I learned how judged people who are homeless feel, and how helpless people who are homeless feel. And I also learned how really simple the solution is, which is people are homeless because we don't have enough safe and affordable housing. And that's really got to be a focus of government to provide.
Alex, before we let you go, I actually met you almost 15 years ago at a festival on Fire Island in the US.
I miss Fire Island.
It was a very long time ago. You've built a career in the public service. There aren't very many out LGBTQI plus people in the public service. How important is visibility for you?
It's so critical. I'm really blessed that I am the member for an electorate that really is so tolerant and so accepting. So I can be an openly gay man. I can go to Fire Island and nobody cares. That maybe not be the case for some MPs and some electorates. I think visibility is so important. We need to be setting, as both of you do in your job, we need to be, providing role models for people to know that if you're out and open with your sexuality, it has no impediment on you being able to be successful.
So hopefully the next time we reconvene, we'll be on the dance floor at Mardi Gras.
At Mark Club.
Oh, at Mark. Sorry, when I win
at your club, Mark. Yeah.
Exactly.
Next to my office on Oxford Street. Yeah.
Hey, Alex, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll let you get back to whatever you're doing tonight.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you both.
Thank you, Alex. See you, mate. That was great.
It was good. A lot of interesting comments from both of our guests and also people watching tonight.
Yeah, we got some, Mark, we actually got a lot of comments today from viewers talking about how much they admire our guests, Alex and Prada. Some great comments from people like Lauren saying a great episode. Marco saying thank you for the weekly show. Will there be another series? So the idea is this was a lockdown project. However, Mark and I will remain committed to bringing this show ad hoc on, when there are some issues to talk about or we've got some interesting stories to tell. Isn't that right, Mark?
Yeah, I think so. And like we said, we did this to kind of fill time on a Saturday night to give something to watch, however small or whatever you get out of it. So it's been a pleasure. I must say, publicly and openly that Ricardo has put a lot of effort into this show. He does the technical work. He gets a lot of the guests, he gets basically all the guests. And
not all of them.
He's someone who he thrives off being busy, and he's a really hard worker. So Ricardo, thank you very much for your hard work.
No, Mark, thanks for being part of it. Also, like I said, we've had 20 guests on the show. Mark, who were some of your favourites?
One of my favorites is Pip. She was the girl who started cooking meals to her neighbors in her building during lockdown and delivering it to them, being single herself. And also, I'm going to be a little bit biased here and say my cousin Leanne, who took us on a tour of what it's like to travel in the pandemic as a businesswoman, and just the fact that she was going to so many countries and, going to beaches and there being empty bed chairs. It was incredible to see that.
Yeah, and I really liked a lot of the small business owners we spoke to, the girls at Jam, the brand, creating inclusive clothing. We had Daniel Diorio, who was the hairdresser, trying to stay positive, even though, his hair salon was closed, and he gave us his stories. And we had Ben last week talking about his gnocchi shop and how he was able to not capitalize, but look for opportunities during lockdown. So we had some great stories. So thank you to all of those people who gave up their time to be on the show as well.
And we also had a lot of great mental health guests. We had Lauren Gordon, who's a life coach who is watching. We also had Mia Finlay, who's an eating disorder recovery coach. So a lot of those people were really good just to sort of be relatable, and so everyone can feel somewhat connected, because it is a hard time.
And if you do want to watch all of those interviews, they will stay up online on the facebook.com/Ricardo&Reddie page. We'll keep it up so that when we'll bring you some more stories and shows in the near future. Mark, it's been a pleasure.
It's been fun. Take care.
See you, everyone.